Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. We have people plugging in from all over the world. And if you could just take a moment right now in the question feature and just type what part of the world are you participating in today's webinar. So go ahead and do that for me now. This is Eric Lofholm. I'm one of your two presenters today. I'm thrilled that you've made the decision to join John and I. This could end up being the most powerful webinar you've ever participated in your life, and it has to do with timing. There's nothing more powerful than a good idea whose time has come. And for where you're at in your life, and for the message that John has to share with you, and the message that I have to share with you, we may end up sharing the exact message that you need to hear in order to catapult your life to the whole next level. So I just want you to know that we are here prepared to deliver a world-class message to you with the intention of taking you to a whole new level of success with profound content, incredible insights, literally sharing with you some of the most powerful ideas that we've learned in our business journey and life journey. I'm just going to shout out a few folks. We got Phoenix, Arizona here, Ben from Chicago, Illinois, Greg from Indiana, Lance is here from California, Dell from Anaheim, California, Crystal from South Lake Tahoe, Palmdale, California, Napa, a lot of Californians here, San Diego, East Coast, Missouri, Corona, California, India is here, South Carolina, North Carolina, Atlanta, Toronto. We've got people from all over the world, and I'm thrilled that you've made the decision to join us today. And this training is broken up into two sections. John's going to present first, and we're going to do an interview format talking about winning the inner game of money. And John is one of the world's leading experts at teaching on this subject matter. He's lived it himself. You'll hear about his incredible story, his own personal journey, and how he's helped so many people from all over the world. So we're going to hear from John first. Then we're going to take a short break. And then I'm going to come back and share my top 7 sales and business ideas. And that's for those of you that are interested in sales acceleration and sales growth. So that will be the second half of what we're presenting. And let me, I need to do a couple things with my computer here. Okay, we're good there. And all right. What I'd like to do now is share with you a little bit about John Assaraf's background. I've personally known John now for a little over 10 years. I've had the privilege of sharing several stages with him. We've team taught a few times to events to my clients, and I'm thrilled that he's able to join me today. He's a very, very busy individual working with people all over the world, and we're very fortunate to have him with us today. In the last 25 years, John has grown 5 multi-million-dollar companies in real estate, internet software, brain research, and life and business coaching and consulting. He's the author of 2 New York Times best-selling books, Having It All and The Answer. He's appeared on almost every major TV program, such as Larry King Live, Anderson Cooper 360, The Ellen DeGeneres Show, and was featured in the blockbuster movie and book The Secret, and in the special documentary Quest for Success with the Dalai Lama and Sir Richard Branson. Today, John researches, writes, and lectures extensively around the world on neuroscience of success and achieving maximum performance. John's topic today is winning the inner game of money. And hey, John, welcome to the webinar.
Hey there, Eric. It's great to be with you and everybody from around the world. I heard somebody was from Indiana, where I used to live, and started Remax there. And we've got some San Diegans, which is where I live, and even Toronto, where I used to live. So hi, everyone. Great to be here with you, and you too, Eric.
Fantastic. Well, why don't we start off and have you just share a little bit about your story. And there's so many different things that you could share. So when it comes to winning the inner game of money, what do you think would be important for people to know about your background?
Well, I think like everybody else, I grew up, believing that, money was a great thing to have to give you more freedom and to give you some of the luxuries of life and to be able to make a difference in the world. And that it's really a tool that could take away some of life's stresses and also give you some of life's freedoms. So financial freedom, I believe, is a good thing. However, I was also born in a family where my father was a cab driver, my mother worked at a local department store, and between them they made $30,000 a year trying to raise myself, my brother and sister, and there was always struggles around our home. And although my father worked really hard, he never really grasped the concept of money being a tool and concept being a money the concept of money, the whole money game. And he also didn't believe that he was going to ever be able to be financially successful. And my entire world around money shifted when I met one mentor back in 1980. It was June of 1980, who asked me a question after he asked me, what were my goals and what did I want my lifestyle to be like and what I wanted to achieve in each area of my life. He was a brilliant philanthropist. His name was Alan Brown. He was in the real estate business with real estate offices, real estate developments, and he was just a beautiful human being. And what he said to me in 1980 was, it was actually in the form of a question after I shared with him what my goals were. He asked me if I was interested in becoming financially successful and financially free, or if I was committed. And when I asked him what the difference was, he said, well, if you're interested, you'll do what's convenient. You'll live by your stories and excuses that you didn't go to college. You'll keep telling me reasons why you can't earn a lot of money. And if you're committed, you will learn how to become more than you are now so that you have the beliefs, the emotions, and the behaviors that match the level of income and lifestyle that you want to live. And that was pretty profound because I had no idea that I had any control over that. I thought that based on what I was told, that whether I went to school and graduated and how well I did in high school, or in college, which I didn't go to, would determine how much money I would earn. And he quickly shared with me that that wasn't the case. And he really helped me shatter my self-belief on what I believed I could earn. And then he helped me upgrade my knowledge and my skills and my habits so that I could earn a lot of money. And that's what I love sharing with people now is how do you really, change your paradigm about what is possible for you, and then how do you go about and actually do it?
Yeah, it's really interesting what you're sharing here, and I want to just go a little bit deeper about what's possible in terms of a belief. So, would you comment on this idea of anybody listening right now, their ability to influence being able to make more money, build net worth? Can you just share from your viewpoint, if you believe it's possible for anybody listening, if there's specific things that they could do, they could learn these certain habits or beliefs or actions that they absolutely could influence the amount of money they're making and the amount of money that they're using to build net worth?
Sure. Well, it starts off by understanding what a belief is and that there are two types of beliefs. So, number one, a belief is nothing more than a pattern that has been developed in the brain, and that pattern has been developed in your brain. And this is where my company, NeuroGym, comes in. We do research, neuroscience and neuropsychology research on, what is a belief, what is a habit, what is a perception, what is a paradigm, and then how do we get rid of the ones that don't serve us and instill and create new ones that will. But let me back up and say, when somebody has a belief about what they believe they can earn, belief number one is what we call is a declarative belief. It's a belief that you can declare that basically, yeah, I can earn $100,000 a year, or yeah, I can earn $250,000 a year, or yeah, I can earn $1 million a year or more. And that's a very, very surface type of belief that's based on what we see around us and maybe even what we feel that we could do. And that's a very healthy, really good belief to have. But there's also something that we've discovered in the neuroscience research that says if you, on one hand, believe that that's possible for you, but secretly at the implicit level of the brain, the unconscious part of the brain, you feel like, well, maybe I don't have the skills yet. Maybe I don't deserve it yet. Maybe I don't have the knowledge yet. Maybe I'm really not worthy of that much yet. Then you're going to have what we call is neural dissonance in the brain, or basically chaos. And so when one part of the brain says, hey, I want to, or I can, or I believe that I can do this, but another part of the brain is secretly having this other neural discussion happening, then you're going to create conflict and chaos in the brain. And when there's conflict or chaos in the brain, then your actual amygdala, part of the brain that causes fear, lights up, and your motor cortex, the part of your brain that actually keeps you motivated and causes you to want to take action, shuts down like you're putting your foot on the brake. And so let me share a story with you that may be helpful. A few months ago, I was in Australia, and I just finished doing a keynote in Australia, probably about 500-600 people in the audience. And when I finished, about a 75-minute presentation like we're going to talk about today, this woman started to go through the crowd. There were about 30 people around me asking me questions. This woman started moving people, out of her way. And I was just surprised because she looked like she was 60, 65 years old, and she was crying. And I'm like, oh my God, what did I say? What did I do? This woman is obviously really upset. And as she came through the audience, she came up to me and she hugged me and gave me a kiss on the cheek. And I go, what is that for? She goes, well, I need to let you know that I was in your presentation a year ago when you were in Perth, Australia. She goes, I live in a small town in the outskirts of Perth that has 10,000 people, and I'm a caregiver. I basically help people in their homes that need help. And I've been doing it for 48 years. She goes, I've lived on a widow's pension of $12,000 a year. I've raised 6 children on that pension. And I heard you talk about changing your inner game and re-scripting your financial blueprint and augmenting your self-image to feel like you're worthy of making more money. She says, I bought one of your programs called Winning the Game of Money, and I've been listening to it and applying it. And she goes, I have to tell you, I just took my daughter and her children to Disneyland, and I'll make $100,000 this year.
Wow.
Her name is Joni Sanderson. She is 67 years old, and she's living in a small little town where you wouldn't think making $100,000 was possible. But because she's integrated her goals and her dreams and her desires and set aside her beliefs that she wasn't worthy enough, or that people wouldn't pay her that much, or that she didn't deserve to charge for her services, she was able to retrain her brain to the point where Joni was making a 6-figure income in her 60s. And today, I'm proud to say, she teaches a lot of our concepts to people that are retired that want to actually make more money in their retirement than they did while they were working at companies or building their own companies.
Fantastic. Yeah, it's a great success story, and I think a lot of people listening could probably relate with that, not deserving it or feeling worthy of it, and having those beliefs, below the surface, and wanting to know, how do you break through that? So I'm excited about what we're going to continue to talk about here. Next question, what are a few of the newest scientific studies and research that are helping people release the underlying issues that hold them back from achieving success?
Awesome. Well, some of the latest research that's thanks to the new technologies called fMRIs, functional magnetic resonance imaging, and SPECT scans, which is a longer word. Basically, we're able to now see different neural patterns that fire in people's brains when they set goals. when they're in a state of fear or stress. What we're starting to see is happening is when the fear circuit or the uncertainty or doubt circuit lights up in the brain, and the motivational circuit actually stops people from taking action. What we're looking at and what we're seeing is that there's a place in the brain called the right prefrontal cortex, which is a part of the brain that goes to your memory banks whenever you set a goal. So let's say double or triple your income, let's say, or maybe make 30 or 40% more in a given month or quarter or year. Your brain first goes into this memory database that you have, and it pulls information from that database based on anything that you've tried in the past where you've actually failed or succeeded and then failed, or you've been ashamed, embarrassed, or disappointed yourself or others from. And so the first part of the brain that gets activated when we set a goal that's bigger than what we have right now for most people, obviously is the motivational dopamine center of the brain, which makes you feel good. But that quickly shifts over to the memory centers of the brain as it says, hey, have you ever said this to yourself before? Have you ever set this goal before? Have you ever tried this before? And if yes, and there is a painful memory or an uncomfortable memory, your brain will put the brakes on you actually taking action. So the first thing to realize and the first thing to understand about how do you release this real cause of your procrastination, the real cause of you sabotaging your success once you've achieved success, the real cause of, when you start and stop achieving your goals and dreams, is to understand that your system is working perfectly, but what most people don't know how to do is shift the valve from the right prefrontal part of your brain, which is doing its job to protect you, to help you avoid pain, embarrassment, shame, or guilt, and help you activate the left genius, CEO, executive director, GPS part of your brain that can figure out how to achieve that goal and how to do it in the shortest, fastest, easiest time possible. The brain that I'm talking about right now is the prefrontal cortex, which has been in development for about 40, 50,000 years, and that is really the crowning achievement of our species to date. And that part of the brain is the brain that we're really learning more about now. And a simple process for everybody to think about is first is to become aware of your patterns. And there are 3 patterns specifically that I want everybody to become aware of. Number 1 is your patterns of thought. Are they predominantly positive, forward-looking, and moving you towards the goals and dreams you want, or are your thoughts negative, seeing all the potential negative consequences? That's number 1. So awareness of thoughts. Number 2 is awareness of your emotions. Why? Because every thought you have not only produces an electrical signal, but also releases a correlating chemical in your body. All right? And so when that chemical is released in your body, there is something called an emotion that's created. And emotions are not good or bad, but emotions are either constructive or destructive, and pleasant or unpleasant. The unpleasant emotions are going to stop you from taking action just from a biological and neurological perspective. However, when you learn to be able to recognize the emotion and ask yourself, where is this emotion coming from? What is causing this emotion? It takes you away from being in a reactive automatic state, which is how the body and brain and emotions and feelings work. They save time and energy. But in a state of awareness, being mindful, you can learn how to recognize the emotion no differently than you can learn how to read the computer screen that you have on your computer, or read your dashboard in your car, or read any kind of a mechanism with output, sensory output signals for you. And so when you recognize the thoughts and the emotions, and then you recognize the behaviors, are your behaviors during the day, and even when you sleep, but during the day, are they moving you towards the goals and dreams that you have, or are they moving you away from it? And how do you tell? Well, the easiest way to tell whether your behaviors are constructive or destructive, whether they're moving you towards or sabotaging, says just look at your results. So if your results are not what you want, you've got to remember that there's no such thing as time management. The only thing you can manage are what you do in time. And so there are, let's say, 10 hours a day to work in. What percentage of your day is being focused on your highest income producing activities and your highest impact producing activities versus being busy, doing stuff, the critical few versus the trivial many? And when you start to really recognize, reframe what you need to reframe neurologically, release the sabotaging thoughts, emotions, or behaviors, as you retrain your brain to have thoughts, emotions, and behaviors that are in line and attuned to your new goals, that is what it's going to take for you to go from whatever income you have and add an extra zero to it. It's what it's going to take for you to go from having your monthly income become your weekly income, or your yearly income become your quarterly income, and your quarterly income becoming your monthly income. There's a shift that has to happen at the mental side, the emotional side, and the physical side, and that is how you create what we call is neural coherence and alignment between your goals, your mindset, your emotions, and your behaviors.
So some of the common challenges that people that are listening right now, John, may have, they may have an aversion to prospecting, or they might be in network marketing and they're comfortable selling the product, but they're uncomfortable with the recruiting aspect. Or they might be a coach, or in any industry for that matter, and they may have some uncomfortableness asking for the order.
Yeah.
These, common problems. Are you saying that if they learn how their mind works, how their brain works, that learning and understanding could help them break through these common things, which could then make them more money?
Oh, absolutely. Now let me make sure that we're clear. When somebody says or feels, a fear of cold calling or prospecting or asking for the sale, that's not what they fear. It's not what's causing, the emotion that they have. It's what people might say or do that they are focusing on, being embarrassed or ashamed, that is causing them not to do the action and activity. So at an unconscious level, when somebody thinks of picking up the phone and cold calling or recruiting or asking somebody for the sale, it's what they are unconsciously believing and feeling may happen that will cause them to be embarrassed or ashamed, that's causing the fear trigger in their brain to activate. And that's why they procrastinate. That's why they put the brakes on doing the activity. And so when you recognize the real cause of the emotion, of the lack of taking action, and you reframe the meaning of it at a deep implicit level, which is exactly what we teach people how to do, then your feeling about it changes. And when your feeling about it changes, then picking up the phone or asking for the order or recruiting is just as easy as drinking water.
Yeah, and so let's just say somebody's listening right now, and they learn how to do that, and so now they were uncomfortable with these, whether it's asking for the order, prospecting, and they learn how to become comfortable with it, and now they start making more money, and now maybe a new problem comes in, is that the money that they're making is not consistent with their self-image. So
Correct.
now they're making 10 grand a month, but they view themselves as a $5,000 a month person. So what could you share? I'm a guy, you may know from our previous times we've trained together. I'm a former cook at McDonald's, bottom producing sales guy. And now, I have a very, very different self-image today than I did back when I first got started. And so I know I've experienced a lot about changing self-image within myself, but what could you share with people about changing their self-image so they can really fully step into their potential?
Sure. You will never, ever, ever outperform your internal hidden self-image. 85 to 90% of lottery winners lose all the money they get within 3 years, and 90% of those people that have been interviewed say it's the worst experience of their life. And the polar opposite is true of people who lose their wealth that still have the mental ability and physical ability to do to regain their wealth. And so your self-image is like a thermostat on a wall in your office, your home, or your car. And let's say the thermostat's set at, let's say, 70 degrees or 70 degrees Celsius or 20 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm sorry, 70 degrees Fahrenheit and 20 degrees Celsius. So what happens is any time that there is a deviation from whatever is programmed in the thermostat picks up that deviation, or the sensor does, and sends an electrical signal through the electrical system to the heater or the air conditioning unit to either turn up the heat or turn on the cold air. Well, whenever you start performing above or below your comfort zone, your financial blueprint and thermostat, you will either sabotage yourself until you reach your comfort zone, or if you're below your comfort zone, you'll bust your little fanny and work hard to reach your comfort zone. So what you have to do is, while you are upgrading your knowledge and skills on what to do and how to do it, and you are releasing the emotional baggage that holds you back around not feeling good enough or smart enough or worthy enough, you do have to reset your financial blueprint and self-image. Now, if you think about, well, how did I get my self-image to begin with? Well, a part of it was what you were told by your parents. A part of it was what your teachers told you and taught you. A part of it was your own experiences. A part of it was seeing your friends. A part of it was obviously society. And so what happens is, by the time we're in our late teens, early 20s, we pretty much have this self-image of what we believe. And that is part of the wiring, the neural network and pattern at the unconscious level. And so what we have to do is we have to rescript and reshape the self-image cells and neurons in the brain to have a new self-image. And let me share with you a visual of how to do this so that people aren't wondering how to do it. I want you to imagine for just a moment, everybody, that you live in Hollywood, or Bollywood if you're from India. I heard somebody was from India earlier, but you're from Hollywood or Bollywood. And a Hollywood producer comes to you, and they see you at a Starbucks, and they go, "Oh my God, you are the exact type of person that I'm looking for to play this role in my upcoming movie. Are you interested?" And you go, "Well, yeah, I'm interested. What does it entail?" And they go, "Listen, I want you to play this role." And let's say you have no idea what the role is. You have no idea the character, you don't know the traits, you don't know the accent, you don't know anything. But the Hollywood producer or Bollywood producer says to you, "If you could do this role, I will pay you $10 million plus some of the profits if it's a box office smash hit." Now, would you be excited? And most people go, "Holy mackerel, $10 million. Of course I would be excited." Well, they're going to say to you, "Great, let's get you into the studio and let's show you the script." And so you go into the studio, you see the script, and it's like, wow, this is really exciting. I'm going to have to learn a little bit how to change my accent a little bit. I'm going to have to crouch over a little bit. I'm going to have to drag my left foot a little bit. And I'm going to have to memorize this script that, oops, hold on one. I have something on my computer just came on. So if you started to look at the script and you didn't know how to read the script or act the part, what would you do to start learning the script? What would you do to start being the character? Well, you would read the script 20, 30, 40, 50, 100, 200 times if needed. You would learn about the character and the character traits. You would learn how to make your accent work through some maybe voice coaching. You would do everything possible to become the script over the course of 90 days, 180 days, or maybe even a year, so that you knew that role inside and out, so that when the cameras started to film, people watching you would go, wow, you became the character. Well, obviously, that makes sense. And guess what? In order to reset your financial blueprint, in order to reset your income blueprint, you have to think, feel, and behave in ways that are uncomfortable for you right now and not what you're doing. You have to practice every day for 20 to 30 minutes having new beliefs, having new behaviors, having emotions around this new, improved you and a paradigm around you. And in doing that, what happens, Eric and everybody who's listening, is you start to develop a neural pattern in your brain that becomes reinforced over time through repetition and emotion that then becomes automatic. And in the neuroscience field that I play and work in, that is called automaticity. The new belief, the new emotional pattern, the new behavioral pattern now becomes more real and easy for you to do on demand because you've practiced it, drilled it, and rehearsed it so many times in real life, and also using your imagination and visualization. And in all of our Winning the Game of programs, we actually take the best methodologies and technology to help people do it faster and easier than ever possible, like the movie The Matrix.
Fantastic. And what John's sharing is a really interesting viewpoint. And I want to just plant the seed for all of you, this idea of seeking out opportunities that will take you out of your comfort zone. And it's actually counterintuitive, because if you think about a comfort zone, our whole idea is to stay within the comfort zone. It's like once I expand out, it now becomes uncomfortable. So it kind of like catapults me backwards to what's in the comfort zone. And so if you can just put this thought in your mind to seek out opportunities that will take you out of your comfort zone, and then after you've been in that new behavior for a bit, that new habit, that new belief system, all of a sudden the Thoreau quote kicks in: once the mind expands, it will never return to its original size. And if you think about being on this webinar, I mean, you're here because you want new and better. You want better results. You want to learn new ways of thinking. And John's giving you some great concepts that are all based on his research. John, how many years have you been researching the mind and the neuroscience and all these little intricacies, these details that can make such a big difference?
30 years now, and specifically the last 15 years of my life I've devoted to specifically the neuroscience and neuropsychology field, with all the amazing new technologies and evidence-based methodologies. I've really sought to understand, how do we help people let go of their doubts, their fears, their anxieties, their lack of confidence, lack of certainty, the emotional and mental blockages that are holding them back and keeping them stuck. And so many years.
Yeah, and I know in a little bit after we've completed the interview, you have a great next step for people that want to learn how to create the life of their dreams and make a lot more money. Is that program that you've put together, is this based on all of your research?
Oh, yeah. We actually created a special bundle for your team to get some of my best work. It's over a $16,000 package that we're going to give people a phenomenal price for today. And it's based on all of the latest research to rapidly and quickly help you develop the beliefs, habits, perceptions, and behaviors to help you double or triple your income in the next 6 to 12 months. That's what I promise this will do if you apply it.
Fantastic. So let's go back into some great ideas here, and let's talk about disappointment avoidance. What is that?
Well, that's a term that's used in the neuropsychology field that really is based on how the brain operates and makes decisions of what to act upon and what not to act upon. And one of the things that has been discovered is, as children, one of the things that becomes very, very evident is that we don't want to disappoint our caregivers. And when we don't have the filters to know what's right or wrong, good or bad, and we disappoint our caregivers, whether it's our parents or our teachers or our babysitters or whatever the case is, a child's self-esteem and self-worth is affected because they become embarrassed and ashamed of how they behaved or the reaction of the adult. And so we develop this neural circuit that any time that there's the possibility that we will disappoint somebody else, we basically put the brakes on the behavior so that we don't move into that pattern that can cause, whether it's spiritual, physical, or emotional pain. And that is known as disappointment avoidance. And the next level of that disappointment avoidance is when we have bought things that we haven't used, then we tend to not want to buy more things that we are afraid will disappoint ourselves and not use. When we've made or set goals that we haven't achieved, we secretly have disappointed ourselves, and many people develop this disappointment avoidance pattern where they won't even try because they don't trust themselves based on their past. And what we help people do is, number one, recognize the things that may be causing you to feel that you can't or shouldn't take action because you're secretly or unconsciously afraid of disappointing yourself or your spouse or significant other or an employee or anything like that. So whether it's a diet or whether it's setting goals to double your sales or your business revenues, people will avoid pain more than they will to gain pleasure. And so once you learn the things that may be holding you back, it goes back to being aware of the patterns that you may have not been aware of up until now, and learning how to release them and set them aside opens the lane for you to put the pedal to the metal and do what you need to do to achieve your goals and dreams. And so we take disappointment avoidance and we throw it out the window.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you that same question with just a client situation that happened recently. I was on the phone with a client, and he wants to have build his own business, and he signed up for one of my courses, and I was working with him, and he was not taking action. And so I ended up getting on the phone with him and asking him, what was going on, and this is really what it came down to. He said, Eric, all the things I've tried in the past, they've never worked. So if I actually go for it this time, then it's just a matter of time before it's not going to work again. So what's the point? So
exactly right.
Yeah, so just speak to that. What does this person need to do? Maybe there's somebody listening on this webinar right now, and they're in the same thing. Like every diet I've ever tried, it never works. So why should I try again? What's the point? What do they need to learn?
Well, first and foremost is that the feeling is perfectly spot on and the thinking is perfectly spot on. But you have to upgrade your knowledge and thinking as well, in as much as saying, why am I having these thoughts? Why do I feel this way? And the reason is because of what I suggested and shared earlier on, is your first order of where you're making decisions from comes from your memory banks, and 99% of your thoughts and emotions around it are coming from your past experiences, past failures, past feelings of disappointment, and not based on the person you have become, the guidance you now have, the skills and knowledge and experiences you bring to the table, and your ability to take action differently and achieve success. If you are focusing on the past, or you're focusing on all of the potential problems, then you're absolutely not focusing on the future and the potential ways that you can take action towards achieving the goal and the dream. And since our brains, our conscious brains, are mono-focused machines, you can only have one or the other. So which do you choose? To focus on what might go wrong, could go wrong, or did go wrong? Or do you want to focus on how you can, why you must, and how you will? And when you learn to have that mental focus to be able to project and direct your energy and your behaviors, then you will become and be unstoppable.
Excellent. You mentioned a couple times during the interview about embarrassment or shame or feeling ashamed. And so is that something that in your studying that you've seen that be a big part of how somebody takes action or doesn't take action based on their perception that they're going to feel those emotions?
Absolutely. We are emotional beings. And as I mentioned a few times, is we do more to avoid pain, whether it's real or imagined, than we will to gain pleasure. Our brain is wired for that. The reptilian part of the brain, which has been evolving for 400 to 500 million years old, where all sensory input except for your sense of smell goes to for processing first, analyzes that information up to half a second before you're aware of it, and it will make a determination. Is there potential or real danger of embarrassment, shame, and emotion that's unpleasant? And if the answer is yes, it will send a signal to your limbic emotional brain, and that will send a signal to your logical brain on what decision to make. And so whenever there is the possibility of shame, blame, embarrassment, failure, succeeding and failing, or disappointing, 5 killers, we will do more to avoid pain, and that shows up in the form of procrastination and negative self-talk. That means we talk ourselves out of doing what we need to do to really jump to that next level of success. And once you recognize that you are not your thoughts, you are not your emotions, and you can control your thoughts and emotions through what we call is inner-sizing. Inner-sizing is exercises for your brain. Then you become in control and able to give yourself a goal, a directive, and then follow through to completion, period.
Okay. So if I have it linked in my brain that asking for the order, I might feel embarrassment or I might feel shame, so I avoid it. Are you saying, for example, like with your course, I do more advanced training, I can learn how to let go of that embarrassment and shame so I can effortlessly ask for the order? Is that the idea?
Absolutely. It's the meaning that you're giving. And there's another thing to keep in mind. If you are fearful of asking for the order, and you do, there are 2 different things going on. There's something in the neuropsychology field called a double binding message. And a double binding message goes like this. Let's say I say this to you. Did you want to go ahead and buy this today? Well, not only are my words not congruent, but you could feel my trepidation. And being human, we have physical senses like hear, see, smell, taste, and touch, but we also have an intuitive factor that picks up the vibration that somebody is in. So if in the back of your mind you're feeling afraid of somebody's response and it embarrassing you or shaming you, then the vibration that you are putting off with 100 trillion of your cells will counter the words that are coming out of your mouth. So as you're asking for the order, if you're secretly sending off an energetic signal of being afraid, then your answer from the person is going to be, let me think about it, or no, not right now. Because if there isn't congruency between what you have said, what you're thinking, and what you feel, somebody's intuitive factor, which picks up the vibration around them, will tell them that there's chaos around here and this isn't congruent, so they say, no, let me think about it. And that is exactly why you can have two people say the exact same thing, and one salesperson or business owner will actually make tons and tons of sales, and another person will wonder, why don't people buy from me? It's because of the incongruency of the words that are coming out of your mouth and the emotions and the vibration that you're emitting. And I can share this with absolute expertise because I used to have 1,500 salespeople who worked in my company at Remax that I built to $4.5 billion a year in sales. And when we helped our real estate agents get into congruence between what they were thinking, what they were saying, and what they were feeling, I took my company from $1 billion in sales to $4.5 billion in sales just by working on that one thing alone.
Fantastic. Now, in the real estate example, when you got into real estate, way back in the day, did you envision building, a multi-billion-dollar organization, or was your goal like significantly smaller? What was your thinking when you first got into real estate?
How many people can actually see me right now? Because if they can, I'm going to show you something. If you can't, on my wall on my left, there's an article that appeared in the Indianapolis Business Journal. It's August 17th, 1992. August 17th, 1992. And it says, Remax's John Assaraf focuses on success and gets it by age 30. And right below that, it says, sets $1 billion goal for 1993. And I set monster goals back then. I was under 30, and I set monster goals. And in 1993, we hit 1.2 billion in sales, and then we exponentially grew by working on the work that I teach today, helping people really change their beliefs, perceptions, and habits around their performance. And I've always set big goals because my mentors taught me how to set big goals, but they also taught me how to retrain my brains so I can achieve big goals, which is a huge difference.
So you set this monster goal of $1 billion total revenue with all of the team, and then it went from $1 billion to over $4 billion. Is that correct?
That's correct. My company grew from me alone to over 1,500 salespeople in the course of 10 years.
With your goal setting, the way that you teach it, do you teach that you have to believe that you can achieve the goal, or do you teach to set the goal even if you don't believe it and then somehow it happens? What's your answer to that?
My answer is somehow never shows up. So I believe in setting the goal and then instilling the belief and the habits as you upgrade your knowledge and skills to become the person that resonates with that goal. And as you do that, that's when the magic starts to happen. So you don't have to know how to achieve the goal. You don't have to believe you can achieve the goal. You just have to start with the imagination that it is the goal you want to achieve and have a big reason why you want to achieve it. And then you can build all of the infrastructure afterwards. It's no different than what one of the Saudi princes did when he had a vision for building an island in Saudi Arabia, and he wanted to build an island called the world. And everybody said to him, you can't do it. I mean, the ocean's moving, and there's not enough sand, and there's not enough of this, and there's not enough that. So I didn't ask you if there's enough of this or that. I said, that's what I'm envisioning. Now go figure out how you can do it for me. And they did it and sold it out.
So with the $1 billion goal, was it I set the goal to do $1 billion in revenue, and then or $1 billion in sales, and then from there, now I need to work on becoming the person that can create that result. Is that what you're saying, or something different?
Absolutely. So then I ask myself, what beliefs do I need to have? What skills do I need to upgrade? What knowledge do I need to acquire? Who can I ask for help? What should my daily behaviors be? What tools do I need? What resources do I need? How much money do I need to make this a reality? All of the how to and what to came after I set the goal.
For all of you listening, I mean, this is just a huge golden nugget that John's sharing with you, because he's built 5 multi-million-dollar companies. So this is somebody who's not just he's a researcher, but what's unique about John, there's some people out there that are researchers and that's all they've done. And then there's other people out there that did it and then they never did the research. And so John is a combination of both, which is very, very unique. So he has the perspective of like setting a goal for $1 billion, which is a monster goal, and then 4 timesing that goal and going through the real life experience of what that took and then doing the research behind it. That's a huge, huge insight that he just shared with all of us, and tremendous, tremendous golden nugget, John.
Thank you. And what I want people to understand is, like for me, the fun part for me today is to teach what I've learned to entrepreneurs, to salespeople, to homemakers. I don't care. Anybody who wants to achieve more, what I can share with you is there's actually a science to it. There's a neuroscience to it. There's a neuropsychology to it. But it's also about learning how to do the right things at the right time in the right order. And many of you may know that yesterday was a milestone in the history of our species. And what do I mean by that? Well, 10 years ago, we sent this probe into the universe to go from one planet to the next to the next. And yesterday, it reached 3 billion miles from here, 3 billion miles from here, to take the first snapshots of Jupiter that were just, from about 8,000 feet above Jupiter. Now, if you think about that, what they will tell you is the science will tell you that if that probe would have hit a grain of sand, it would have been redirected to a different trajectory. A grain of sand in the middle of space. And if that probe, didn't know through the technology to shut down and rest for a period of time until a window of opportunity that was about 1.5 minutes in duration opened up for it to pass through this zone to get these perfect pictures of Pluto, then we would have missed out on 10 years worth of following a precision model around physics, around astrophysics, etc. And why am I sharing this? I'm sharing this because you now have the ability in your hands to be able to take the latest in brain research and the latest in molecular biology, the latest in all of the research that's happened in the last 10 years, and learn how to create a precision model that is predictable when you apply the principles that we're talking about today. So if we can send a probe 10 years at 30,000 miles an hour to go 3 billion miles from Earth to take pictures of Pluto, trust me, the technology and the methodologies to help you rescript and reshape your self-image and your financial blueprint to double or triple your income is nowhere nearly as complex, and we know how to do that.
Just for all of you listening, I just want to make this point one more time, because it's a significant point about who John is and how he helps people. It's the combination of building 5 multi-million-dollar businesses. John's accomplished incredible financial things throughout his career, incredible things in business. But then on the other side, went out and has done the research, because he's just fascinated with the research of it and how the brain works and so forth. And it's a huge thing when he's sharing these ideas with you about the credibility of the ideas. And John, I want you just to go back and just briefly talk about where you came from, because we didn't really hit that much about, you talked about your parents' upbringing and so forth, but maybe you could just talk about before you got really successful in business, like what was going on in your life, maybe the 2 or 3, 4, or 5 years before you got successful in business? It's really about, I want you to share a message of hope with everybody that, you came from these incredibly humble beginnings and have gone on to achieve extraordinary results. And I want them just to hear that from you, that, you weren't born with a silver spoon and you really went out and created this from scratch.
Sure. I could take people back in time. It's hard for people to relate to a time when I didn't feel like I was smart enough, because I left school in grade 11 and didn't go to college. I felt like I wasn't smart enough because the teachers told me so, and my school grades showed that I wasn't smart enough from a scholastic perspective. And part of the challenge was when I moved from Israel to Montreal when I was 6 years old, I only spoke Hebrew. And I traced this back to that time because the first 2 years of school, I had to learn how to speak English and French while they were trying to get me to learn information. So I was behind. And I was always behind, up until the time I left high school. And I just never felt that I was smart enough or good enough. And so I went into the business world, meaning I worked, for, I don't know, $3 or $4 an hour back then in a computer company in the shipping department, shipping boxes in and out of a computer department. And that's really what I thought my career was going to be. My father was a cab driver. I was going to be working in the shipping department at a company that he actually helped him take boxes to the airport. And it wasn't until I met my mentor, Alan Brown, my first mentor, that he helped me shift what I believed about myself. And he had me not just set big goals, but he had me really practicing a lot of what we teach today, but we just do it in a way that uses technology and evidence-based methodologies that are 1,000 times faster to re-script my own internal self-image. And when I was 19 and I started to work for him, in my first year of selling with zero experience, except what he started to teach me, I made about $35,000. And then by retraining my brain and re-scripting my financial blueprint, I made $151,000 when I was 20. And then I've never made less than that, and I've gone on to make 8 figures in some years. And so I share this with you because I know firsthand what's possible, but more importantly, I've trained hundreds of thousands of people, and there are hundreds of thousands of people that have used our brain retraining programs in one form or another, whether it's the winning the game of money programs, our winning the game of fear or procrastination. I've basically taken everything that I learned, combined it with all the best neuroscience research and technology research to try and make it easier and faster for people to achieve success way faster than I did. And I think I did it pretty fast. And all the evidence that we're seeing right now is that you can do it faster and easier with less stress than ever before. And so I know from my own life, but I also know more importantly from the hundreds of thousands of people around the world that we've helped.
Fantastic. John, what is winning the game of money, and how is it different than anything else that's being taught out there?
Sure. Several years ago, I started consulting, businesses, probably about 8, 9 years ago. And one of the things that started to happen is we were teaching business owners how to generate more leads, how to convert those leads. We were giving them all the strategies and the tactics of what to do, when to do it, how to do it. And we noticed that over 95% of them wouldn't apply the strategies that were making us millions of dollars. And so one of the things that I recognized was, oh my God, they are being limited by their beliefs. They're being limited by their habits. They're being limited by their own self-esteem. So I created a brain retraining program to help them change their script around money, to help them change their beliefs around what they could achieve, to help them change their financial blueprint from the inside out. And I created a 12-level program that they started listening to, each one, one level per week for level 1, then level 2 1 week, level 3 1 week, level 4. And I created this technology, or used some different technologies that I've put together with some of the latest evidence-based methodologies to just retrain their brains, because they weren't going to do. Sorry, I've got this thing on my computer. Let me know when every half hour passes in a funny voice so that I can smile and remember to just lighten up and have fun in life. So I created this brain retraining program that's 12 levels that'll actually retrain your brain for you. All you've got to do is put on the headphones, listen to me retraining your brain using evidence-based methodologies, and over the course of 30, 60, 90 days, I will help you retrain your brain. All you need to do is download the audio training program, listen to each level for 1 week for 30 minutes a day, and I will help you retrain your brain so you have the beliefs, the habits, the perceptions, and the re-scripting your financial blueprint part of it. So that was part 1. Part 2 was, how do you upgrade your knowledge and skills around how do you earn more money? How do you manage your money better? How do you invest it and protect it so that as you make an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a month, you don't sabotage it and spend it. You don't sabotage your behavior. You really start to augment more and more and more income month in, month out, year in, year out. So I created a training program on earning, managing, protecting, and investing your wealth. And then I started to add more of what I've learned over the last 30 years between myself and experts that I hire to help me. And I developed an amazing library. I call it the $1 Million Library, which has got over 100 hours of training videos and manuals on everything from growing your business in some cases to earning, managing, protecting, and investing your money. And I've got world-renowned experts in a variety of different areas that help people. So we combined the brain training with a $1 Million Success Library. And then what started to happen was people were doing the brain training and going, oh my God, I can't believe I'm thinking this way and acting this way and making more money, and I'm upgrading my knowledge and skills, but can we ask you some questions? So I said, oh, now we're getting a little bit crazy because I charge $5,000 an hour to consult now. But I also wanted to help people. And so I started this VIP coaching community where I go into the community every day and I answer people's questions. But I also hired one of the top neuroscientists in the world, Mark Waldman, to be in there with me every day answering people's questions, whether it's on mindset or making money or situations that they need answers on. And so then I combined that whole package. And the good news is the package ended up being about $16,000. And then we started to sell it at $7,000 and $9,000, and people were blown away that we would give that much value in the brain retraining program, in the $1 Million Library, and a full year of VIP coaching with me and Mark in our community. And so what I started to do is a whole bunch of my friends started to ask me if they can get their hands on it for some of their clients. And so we started to offer it to other people's clients as well so that they could really benefit from the work that I've done. And so I took everything that I've done over the last, 15 years that I've put into, whether it's my books or courses, and I put it into the complete Win the Game of Money Success Coaching and Brain Retraining system that gives you access to all the brain training that you download and you can have on your laptop or on your smartphone, so you can listen to it anywhere, anytime, the different levels every day. You have access to the 100 hours of videos, and you get access to me for a whole year of VIP coaching and training, and you don't have to pay $16,000. I believe that my team put a special offer together for your group, Eric, and it's, I think, $995 or $997, and if you average that out, that's $3 a day to get access to me and all of my products in this amazing program.
Fantastic. So we're going to be sending you guys out the link to register for John's program. It's going to be coming out in the chat in the webinar. And I also know that some of you are listening right now over the conference call. And so if you're listening over the conference call and you want to register for the program, we need to send you the link out. And so if you want to send a text, and I'm putting the number up here on the screen.
The other thing while you're doing that, Eric, that I'll share with everybody is, number one is we have a 30-day total money-back guarantee if it's not for you, which we can do because everybody loves it. But also we have full-time support if you have questions. We actually have people who will get on the phone with you, my client care team, which is amazing, to answer your questions and to guide you. And we also have in-house success coaches that help you if you need some help. So it's really a very, very comprehensive course and program that will help you retrain your brain, upgrade your knowledge and your skills, and really help you move forward to double or triple your income, which is my promise to you if you apply what you learn in the next 6 to 12 months.
Fantastic. So you all should have received the link in the webinar. If you just check your question, the questions section of the webinar, I just sent the link out there. And if you're listening via conference call, you can send a text or phone this number. It's 916-626-1945. And if you just include in your email address, and I will email you back, or my assistant will, the link to register for John's program, and I'm putting it up on the screen here. Yeah, you guys can all see that. This is everything that's included in the program. This is incredibly comprehensive. And for those of you on the webinar, for any reason you had a challenge getting the link, you should have just received it in the chat there. You can just use this phone number here, call or text that number, and we'll send you out the link. It's just under $1,000 for this entire program. And I just have a thought for all of you to think about in making this investment. You know, Napoleon Hill passed away in 1970. And so, you know, John is in a lot of ways like a living teacher, like Napoleon Hill, somebody that we can learn from today, who's taken all of this neuroscience of the scientific research about how the brain works and then applied it in his own life to create the life of his dreams, including extraordinary income. And for all of you listening, you know, a lot of you are in business because you're clients of mine, or you're on my list, or you're in sales, or you're in network marketing, or you own your own business, or you're a coach, you're a speaker, you're a consultant. And just ask yourself, how many sales would you need to make to earn back this, essentially this $1,000 investment? And for most of you, it's just a couple. And the thing that's so exciting is that when you experience a breakthrough, when you change your mental thermostat, your financial mental thermostat, your self-image, when you let go of feeling embarrassed or shamed when you're making your prospecting calls or asking for the order, we're talking about turning on the faucet of cash flow for you now and forever for the rest of your life. And John has cracked the code on it from the research standpoint. He's also cracked the code on it from his own living example of how he's used these principles. So it's a very, very well put together program that guides you step by step on how to take how your mind works and translate that into revenue producing activities. It's really a no-brainer. So you can go and register right now. You all should have received the link. If for any reason you're having any trouble with the link, just email or text the number on the screen, or if you're listening over the phone, 916-626-1945. Text or call that number. I just need your email address, and I'll email you the link, and you guys can get registered for the program. And I'm going to, go ahead, John. I'll turn it over to you for any final thoughts that you'd like to share.
Yeah, number one is when you sign up for the program, you get access to everything right away, and it's all digital downloadable. So you could download the audios, the videos, and then we're going to give you an access to our VIP community with your welcome letter so you can get into our community. There's 8,000 people in our community that are active, helping each other, networking, introducing each other's businesses. Just this morning, I got a notice from one of the members in the community that sells kitchen appliances and kitchen cabinetry, and he's from Australia, and he showed a picture of his award that he just got because he's doubled his income, and he was the top salesperson. He has a job in a store that sells kitchen appliances and cabinetry, and he's made over $100,000 in the first 6 months of the year. And he was showing everybody in the community how he's used the Winning the Game of Money program to double his sales in less than 6 months. So I wish I could actually show it to you. My phone just died, or I would have read you the exact quote. I don't know his name, but that's very, very typical of the results that we're seeing people get, whether they're in business or they have a job or they're in sales. When you change your mindset around your beliefs, your habits, perceptions, and behaviors, trust me, everything starts to change.
Fantastic. John, thank you so much. Tremendous interview. I loved your ideas. I learned a lot. So I was had the good fortune of being able to ask the questions. So thank you so much for your time. And, I know how much you had going today. So it means a lot to me. And on behalf of everybody that was on the webinar, we just thank you so much for your service today in providing such extraordinary value and also such a great offer, such a great price for this wealth of knowledge, literally millions of dollars worth of ideas for under $1,000. So thank you for that. And any final thoughts you'd like to share before we end your portion of the training, and then we'll be coming back in a little bit with my portion, but any final thoughts you want to share?
I think, Eric, the question you want to ask yourself is not whether you want to buy a program or a product. The question is, are you prepared to invest in yourself in a real solution that will help you reach your potential and get rid of any of the stories, the excuses, the traumas, the lack of confidence or lack of certainty, and any of the mental or emotional blockages that are holding you back? Because if you want to do that, I guarantee you this will work. And as I mentioned before, I'll take all the risk. Buy it now, use it. You have 30 full days to go through the videos, get in the community, get some of my coaching, ask me questions, retrain your brain. And if you're not 100% satisfied, we'll give you 100% of your money back. That's that easy. So make a decision that you're worth it and that you're willing to invest in a real solution versus just more information and more motivation, which is okay. But if you want to really change, you've really got to change from the inside out and change the biocomputer, your neural patterns and networks, which are driving all of your decisions, behaviors, and results. And so with that said, get started, and I look forward to helping you in our VIP community and getting some amazing testimonials from each one of you.
Fantastic. John, thanks so much, and have a great rest of your day.
Thanks, Eric. Goodbye, everybody.
Okay, so that's not the end of our webinar. That's just part one, and we're going to take a 10-minute break to give all of you an opportunity to register for John's program that would like to do so. And then we're going to come back, and what I'll be sharing with you guys when we get back, my 7 top sales increasing and business growth ideas. And I'm going to be bringing my A game, and I am fired up with what I'm going to be sharing with you guys. And so if you want to make more money by increasing your sales results, we're going to come back here in 10 minutes. That'll be 12:23 California time, or 10 minutes from wherever you are. And if you had any challenge getting the link, we're giving you some different choices here. So on my personal Facebook page, if you have Facebook, whether you're my friend on Facebook or not, you can just type in Eric Lofholm, and I'll put that on the screen here. Just type in Facebook. You want to go to my personal page, not my business page, and I just put the link up there. Or you can email my assistant, Vicky, at ericlofholm.com. She'll send you the link. We also have messaged you within the question feature in the webinar, or you can text or call 916-626-1945. I had a question come in the chat that said, what if I don't text? It's a phone number, so you just call it or text it, and we'll get you guys all squared away to register. It's a wonderful, wonderful program to truly help you. So we're going to take a quick 10-minute break. We'll see you guys back here at 12:23, and we're going to kick off the second half of this training focusing on sales and all righty. Welcome back. Hey, what a treat. What a treat to be able to spend an hour with John Assaraf. And, you were just on that webinar, and the point that I made is it's a huge point. There's people out there that do the research, and they're extraordinary researchers. There's people out there that are extraordinary at doing it. And here's the person that did both. I want to just take a moment and acknowledge all of you that made the decision to invest in John's program. It's a $1,000 program, a couple dollars less than $1,000. Tremendous program, very well put together from somebody who's out there and done it. And so anyway, it was just, I had a great time interviewing him, and I loved the idea about goal setting of set a big goal, and maybe you don't believe that you're going to do it yet. And then you just step into, who do I need to become in order to achieve that goal? What habits do I need to have? And, I did that intuitively back in 1999 when I launched my current company, Lofholm International. I began to think about the sales trainer that I wanted to become, and I patterned my training career after two legends, Jim Rohn and Zig Ziglar, not comparing myself in any stretch to those individuals, but just they spent their whole career and they trained into their 80s. And I looked at age 28 and I said, okay, if I train until I'm 75, what could I become? And it was like, whoa, there's so much that can be accomplished. If I truly followed through and did that, so now I'm 44, I'm 16 and a half years into that original vision, and with a plan to do this for the next 31 years. And it really I've done that my whole career, set big goals. And I didn't really think of it like the way John explained it, but I love the way he explained it. So just to simplify the principle, this was my big takeaway from what John Assaraf just shared. Set goals that inspire you. And they might be big goals, they might not. Whether they're big or enormous or small, set the goal, whatever it is. Like, let's just say you want a simple goal. I want to lose 10 pounds in the next 90 days. What habits would I need to develop? What foods would I need to eat? What would I have to believe? What associations would I need to have? Let's say you want to make 10 grand in the next 30 days. What actions would I need to take? What would I have to believe? What habits do I need to have? What coaching program would I need to participate in? I am somebody who I intuitively know people's potential. What I mean by that is when I coach somebody, I can see their greatness in them. It's one of my natural gifts. So when I'm coaching somebody and I see their greatness in them, what I see is if they stepped up, what are they capable of? And I want you just to think about that for just a second. If you stepped up, what are you capable of? My experience is this. If there's 5 gears, like a 5-gear stick shift car, first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. My experience coaching people for the last 16 years in sales and business, network marketing, coaches, consultants, my experience is that most people, they never take it past third gear. They don't take it past third gear. And when you go to fourth gear and you go to fifth gear and you see what you're capable of. So I want you to think about this right now in terms of your effort. Has your effort been where it needs to be in order for you to accomplish your goals? And if the answer is no, then as Tony Robbins says, the past does not equal the future. So meaning if your past hasn't been you stepping up, you could certainly absolutely step up in the future because the future hasn't happened yet. Okay, I'm off of my little rant. I'm fired up to be with you guys today. My top 7 sales and business ideas. I presented this webinar yesterday for a private company. They loved it. I was fired up about teaching it. I'm fired up about sharing this with you guys today. I want you to be open to super genius ideas coming into your mind today. How many ideas does it take? 1. That's it. 1 good idea is all that it takes in order for you to go to your next level. And I want you to know that every one of you listening right now, you have a next level within you. And many of you have many levels beyond where you're at. I think there's never been a better time in history to become successful than right now. Because both John Assaraf and myself, we both have used knowledge, mentors, associations, learning from others through books, tapes, seminars, etc., in order to elevate our sales skills, elevate our business skills, elevate our success level. John didn't graduate high school. I didn't graduate community college. Yet we're both leading this webinar to help you guys, and we're sharing with you that you can learn it. You can. There's so much powerful information. People like John and myself, because of technology, you're able to work with him for under $1,000 and learn his methodology, and my programs are always very affordable. Many of you are already clients of mine. All the success stories in this webinar are regular people whose lives changed significantly because of professional training. And I'll share with you several stories of people just like you in several different industries. I'll share with you, to the best of my ability, some of the key insights into how they did it to inspire you to go to a next level. There's nothing more powerful than a good idea whose time has come. There's nothing more powerful than a good idea whose time has come. And the message that I'm about to share with you may be the exact message that you need to hear in order to go to a new level of success. 3 levels of wealth building. So I'm a sales trainer, and there's a lot of benefits to getting professionally trained in sales. The most obvious one is you make more sales and you make more money. There's an interesting principle, and I forget the name. I think it's called Parkinson's Law. I was reading an article by Brian Tracy the other day, and it's a very interesting idea. And what Brian Tracy is saying in this article is that we tend to spend the money we have and a little bit more, no matter how much you make. We tend to spend what we make and a little bit more. So based on that principle, you never get off the hamster wheel. So if you're making $4,000 a month, then we tend to spend that 4 and a little bit more. So let's say you apply my principles and you make more money, and now you're making $7,000 a month. Based on that principle, we would tend to spend the $7,000 and a little bit more. Now you really apply my principles and up your level to $20,000 a month. We tend to spend it. You see? Now, here's the good news. You don't have to do that. that is what happens on an unconscious level without you focusing on it. So I want to give you a whole new way of thinking about it. You burn this thing into your brain of what's on the screen, and you can become a multimillionaire with just this one idea. So this is the 3 levels of wealth building, and I just started teaching this. Number 1, if you're in financial stress, focus on getting out of financial stress. So let's up your income to get you out of financial stress. Number 2, once you get out of financial stress, get yourself financially comfortable. And then number 3, build wealth. So a lot of people get to number 2 and they never go to number 3. A lot of people never get out of number 1, no matter how much money they make. So if you apply this simple little way of thinking, all right, so my immediate goal if I'm in financial stress, get out of financial stress, that's why I want to apply our principles and make more money. So now you have a motivation to make more money. We're going to talk a little later in this webinar about what's your why. Well, if you're in financial stress, what's your why to make more money? To get out of financial stress. Financial stress can cause health problems, and it's one of the main issues for people that are in a marriage or a committed relationship as far as their problems is they're in financial stress. So let's get you out of financial stress. Let's get you comfortable. Okay, now you're comfortable. Why make more money now that you're comfortable? To build wealth. I want to tell you a quick story to motivate you. This may be the exact story you need to hear right now. Because there may be some of you listening, although you're motivated, because you're on this call, I know you're motivated or you wouldn't be here, but you might be complacent. So I'm talking to this guy. He wants to hire me to coach him. He says, Eric, I need to do 2 real estate transactions a month. He's 72 years old. It's a real story. Get on the phone with the client, and I said, okay, 2 transactions. I said, how many have you been doing? He said, well, I haven't been doing any. I said, okay, so you need to go from 0 transactions to 2 a month. He goes, yep. I said, okay. How many total transactions did you do last year? He said, none. I said, okay. How about the year before that? How many did you do? He goes, none again. I'm like, okay. So you want to do 2 a month, but you haven't done a transaction in a long time. He goes, right. I said, when's the last time you did some real estate deals? He said, when I was 69 years old 3 years ago. I said, okay, what happened? He said, my mom passed, I inherited $200,000, and I lived off the money. So number 2 on the screen there, when he got the money, he got comfortable, which caused him to stop working. So now he's been living off the money. I said, how much do you have left? 3 years later. He goes, $400. Now, if he understood what's on the screen when he inherited the money at age 69, he would have kept working, realizing at some point, I'm going to need to live off that money. But he didn't do it, and now it's too late. It's not too late for his life, but he's not going to recover that $200,000. I mean, it's possible, but it's highly, highly, highly unlikely. He made a bad mistake financially. I share that with you because maybe just that little story and this little PowerPoint slide will get you realizing, you know what, I could go out and build wealth now. I could go out and get myself set up. And I want to tell you a quick story that this story is where this all came from, what I'm showing you on the screen. It's about one of my clients named Rick Silva. It's Rick there in the middle. Rick came to me about 5 years ago. He'd just recently been divorced. And as you can imagine, divorce crushed him financially to the point where he had a negative net worth. So we started working together, and it was like, okay, let's get your income up to get you out of financial stress, which is what we did. And then, Rick, let's get you comfortable. And then he got comfortable. And he understood point number 3 there, and he started building wealth. It's been less than 5 years. Rick right now has a net worth in excess of $1 million. From negative net worth to more than a millionaire in net worth in less than 5 years by following the principle that's on the screen there. That's really what I would love for all of you. Yeah, I want to help you make more sales. And listen to me, it's a given. The principles that I teach, they are proven principles. Any one of you, you do the 7 things I'm going to teach you today, you're going to make more money. I don't have an ounce of doubt in my mind because these are proven principles. But it really comes down to why. Why do you want to make more money? Well, I'm giving you a why right here. Follow the blueprint. Get out of financial stress, get comfortable, start putting that money into assets and building wealth. There's your why to go out and make it happen. And you can, of course, have many other whys, many other reasons to succeed. I want to briefly go into my background. I know a lot of you are clients of mine, and you've heard my story before, so I'm not going to tell a long version of it. But for anybody that's new to this conversation, I wanted to share with you a little bit about my background. I started off as a cook at McDonald's. I was 5 years in community college, which you're supposed to go to for 2 years. I never graduated community college. I was wandering aimlessly through life in my early 20s with no goals, no direction. I had nothing going for me back then. And everything changed for me, and I experienced a turning point. Similar story to John Assaraf. I met a mentor, a multi-millionaire real estate investor named Dante Perano. I went to work for him in a sales role. This is me at my first sales job. It's very stylish back then, as you could tell from this photo. Had my purple pants and my matching plaid socks. I started off in sales, and I was the bottom producer. At the end of my first year, my manager pulled me in the office. He's like, Eric, selling is not for everybody. It's probably not for you. You've got 1 more month to hit your quota, or we're going to let you go. I share this picture with you in this story. It's really a story of hope. That even if you're the newest person on this call to business and sales, even if you just got started in sales or network marketing, you just started your coaching practice or whatever you do, financial services, whatever you do, or you're the most seasoned person on this call. I work with top producers. I work with people that are just getting started. And what I do, it's a principle-centered approach. Proven principles anybody can apply. And the reason I teach that is because that's my story. I'm about to get fired, and I meet Dr. Moyne, author of Unlimited Selling Power. So, like, just a little insight into who Dr. Moyne is. So, Dr. Moyne has done sales coaching with John Assaraf in the past. John reached out to Dr. Moyne to hire Dr. Moyne as a consultant. That's who Dr. Moyne is in the world. People like John Assaraf, top producers all over the planet, work with him. I affectionately call him the Obi-Wan Kenobi of sales training. So Dr. Moyne comes into my life when I'm about to get fired from my job, and he teaches me a sales system. The next month I hit the quota. The quota is $10,000 in gross sales. I did $10,500, making quota by 1 sale. The following month I did $51,000. It went from worst to first in 60 days. And I've never looked back. I've gone on to do millions and millions of dollars in sales. And I share that with you to tell you that I believe in every cell of my being that every one of you listening can make more sales. No question. Zero doubt. And all you have to do is apply proven principles. These are some of the people that I've mentored with. This is Jay Abraham. I'm one of Jay's students. This is actually Jay team teaching with me at one of my seminars. Les Brown is one of my mentors. This is me speaking at Les's seminar. Les has spoken at my events. These are people that have taken a personal interest in helping me and developing me and mentoring me. After leaving Dante's organization, I went to work for Tony Robbins. I was with Tony for 3 years, and then a little over 16 years ago, I branched off and started Lofholm International. We're a global sales training organization, and our mission is to help people make more sales. I have 2 outcomes for my portion of the webinar. Teach you my top 7 ideas. Any one of these ideas can create a breakthrough for you. You'll learn the principle today. You'll have it now and forever. So this truly could be life-changing for you. I'm thrilled that you made the decision to join me today. If you're right-handed, take your right hand. If you're left-handed, take your left hand. Pat yourself on the back right now. Go ahead and pat yourself on the back. Say, great job for being on John and Eric's webinar. Okay, great job. I believe in acknowledging when we do good things. You know, our life has so much to do with the decisions that we make on a daily basis. You want to improve your life? Just keep making good decisions like the decision you made today to join us. Second outcome is to invite you to mentor with me. I have 2 programs for you to choose from today. I have my entry-level program, and then there's some of you that you want to accelerate your sales results, and you're like, Eric, I want to go. I want to go fast. So I have my Rolls-Royce program, and I'm going to introduce both programs to you for those of you that would like my help. If you want to accelerate your sales results, it's a total no-brainer. You can turn the investment in these programs into tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, in Rick Silva's case, over $1 million in net worth. Okay, number 1 idea. I got 7 ideas for you today. Number 1, have a long-term vision for your business. Years ago, this gentleman went up to Tony Robbins and said, Tony, I did your 30-day program. I have my goal set for the next year. Tony acknowledged him. Great job. Way to follow direction. Way to write your goals down. And Tony gave him some praise. And the guy says to Tony, how long do you set your goals? How far out do you set your goals? Tony Robbins said, I set my goals in decades. So I have a vision to do what I'm doing, the sales training, running my company, until the day before I turn 76. That's September 12th, 2046. Now, that may sound to you a little extreme. I have it down to the exact day that I want to do this till, but that's just the way my brain works. That's 31 years. So I've mapped out many things in my life that I'm going to accomplish over the next 31 years. So I encourage you, short-term goals are great. I have them. Goals for the week, the day, the week, the month, the year, the quarter, etc. I also encourage you to have a long-term vision for your business. I want to share with you a story about one of my clients. His name is Scott Southall. And Scott wanted to build a very successful videography business. He wanted to have a team of people, and he wanted to be serving high-end clients in Orange County, California, where he lives. So Scott and I started working together. Scott had never been professionally trained in sales before. He was very uncomfortable with sales. He signed up for my program, and I got a call from him one day. And it was kind of like a 911 call for sales help. So I called him back, hey, Scott, it's Eric Lofholm. And he gets on the phone with me, and I'm like, Scott, I got your message. This sounds serious. Is everything okay? And he proceeded to tell me that he was about to lose his studio due to lack of sales. And I asked him, I said, what do you say at the end of your presentation to lead and guide your prospect to action? In other words, how do you close? Okay, now I want you to listen to me for just a minute. There's a lot of ways for you to make more sales, lots of ways. But I want to just check in with you. Do you know exactly what to say to get somebody to buy from you? And if the answer is no, you're leaving a lot of money on the table. One of the things that John Assaraf was just talking about on his portion of the webinar is people feeling they have it linked up in their mind that if I do this action, I might get embarrassed, or I might feel ashamed, or I might feel shame, or I might get disappointed. So piggybacking on what he said, if you do not know exactly what to say to get somebody to buy from you, you may have it linked up in your mind that when you get to the end and you ask for the order, you might feel embarrassment, or you might feel ashamed, or you might get disappointed, which may then cause you to not ask for the order or not make the appointment in the first place, or not be powerful and confident in the close. And all those things were happening for Scott Southall. Great videographer, about to lose his studio because he didn't know what to say. So I worked with Scott, and I got him very comfortable on what to say. So remember the 3 stages of wealth building that I teach. Step number 1, get out of financial stress. So he was in financial stress. So we got Scott the skill set to bring in enough money so his landlord wasn't breathing down his neck to kick him out of the studio. So we accomplished that. And then he began to get into a level of being comfortable, just barely. And then his confidence soared. And at the time, Scott was selling a $500 product, $500 video product. And he made a decision to start selling to businesses in Orange County that do annual revenues of $5 to $10 million a year. And he decided to sell them a different package than a $500 package that he would sell to a small business owner. His new package, guys, a $60,000 annual video marketing package. Of course, his revenue skyrocketed when he was selling $60,000 instead of $500. And Scott was able to move into a larger, nicer studio in a better location. He was able to hire videographers to support his business, hire editors, and he's now living his dream, building his business. So have a long-term vision for your business. And then you want to learn what to say in the presentation, which ties into sales scripting, which we'll talk about a little bit later. Now, this is something you probably heard of before. What's your why? And your motivation, if you want to go to, in a 6-shift, 5-speed metaphor, first gear, second gear, third gear, fourth gear, fifth gear. If you want to access fourth gear and fifth gear, here's the question. Why? What's your reason? See, Dr. Moyne, my mentor, says that at a dog race, they have a mechanical rabbit. And the mechanical rabbit goes, zoom, zoom, right? It's whipping around. It's whipping around the dog track. And that's what's causing the dogs to be motivated to run. So what's your why? What's your reason to run? Now, all achievement begins in thought. I want to give you an insight that may help you create a breakthrough for you. Because, you know, when I interviewed John Assaraf earlier and I was asking him, you know, the $1 billion revenue, and just to put that in perspective, this was with RE/MAX of Indiana. So they're selling homes, you know, 50,000, they're probably $250,000 homes, and you add up the 1,000+ real estate agents that were on John's team, and they all combined did, you know, $1 billion+, then ultimately $4 billion+. And so I was asking him about, you know, do you have to believe you can achieve a goal in order to set it? And John shared his answer. And we got tremendous insight into how John Assaraf thinks. That was gold. So I want to give you some insight into how I think to inspire you. So I spend 5 hours or more a week thinking, separate from my prospecting, separate from my delivery of webinars, separate from leading my team, separate from having time with my kids, separate from reading, on average 5 hours a week just thinking. Just coming up with concepts. And it's from that thinking time that you could then come up with what's your why. Like, I'll show you guys something, and I wasn't planning on sharing this with you, but I'm just going to pull it up anyway. It's going to take me just a second here to find this. Just another insight into how I think about things. Okay, hit the hand raise button if you guys can see my screen right now, because I just had to make an adjustment. Can you guys see that okay? Okay, Christine, thank you. Elizabeth, Fred, Heather. Okay, thank you. You guys can see the screen. Perfect. So I'm just giving you a little glimpse into how I think about things. This is my time management system. It says 11,391 productive days left to reach 1 million people as of June 29th. So that was a couple weeks ago. And then my end date, which I told you guys earlier, is September 12th, 2046. So I'm just weird like this and how I think. I'm a numbers guy. But see, what this is, guys, this is using my imagination from 5 hours a week thinking. And what is this about? This is about my why. So why should I get out there and hit it hard every day? I'm thinking this for myself because I'm telling you guys, this is one of my top 7 ideas. So you've all heard that before. But it's using your imagination to come up with your why. So here it is, guys. Here's my why to go out there and, excuse the language, but go out there and kick ass every day and make it happen. Here's my why. I got 11,391 days left to make it happen. That's assuming that my health holds up and I'm still alive. And that's not a guarantee. Now watch this, guys. So I changed this to July 15th, which is 16 days. July 16th. Okay? So I come over here and I go 76. From 91 days to 76. Boom. I just lost 15 days. Bam. I don't change this every day. I change it every once in a while. So I just change it there. That's motivating to me to go, Eric, make it happen now because it's now or never. You go, well, shoot, that's a lot of days, Eric. You have 11,000 days left to make it happen. Not for the size of my dreams. I want to do things historic that have never been done in the history of sales training. Ultimately, I want to do over $1 billion in sales training revenue. I want to duplicate myself in 100 Eric Lofholm trainers all over the planet. Now, I'm not saying that to impress you. I'm just saying all I'm trying to share with you guys right now is if you'll just take the time to think about what your why is. Think about the life that you want to create for yourself. Okay, idea number 3, all roads lead to a professional sales presentation. So my client, Scott Southall, who I just told you about, prior to me training him, he wasn't delivering a professional sales presentation. He was just winging it. And always remember this, when you wing it, you get wing it results. So what this means is you have to prepare in advance. So you know what you're going to say, when you're going to say it, how you're going to say it, why you're going to say it. And it's worth it to prepare because, listen, there's no way around this. It's effort. Training you is effort. Putting the time in to develop the presentation is effort. But look at the flip side. You can wing it the rest of your life. Scott Southall's like, oh, I don't want to wing it. Cool. So he didn't wing it, and now he has a new studio, and he has employees, and he's able to confidently sell a $60,000 product. That would not be his reality if he was winging it. You don't want to wing it. You don't want to wing it because you're going to go the next 10, 20, 30 years of your career wing. You don't want that. Because the benefits of you do what number 3 is here. All roads lead to professional sales presentation. That means if you're a real estate agent and you're doing a listing presentation, before you go in and meet with the family, you figure out what you're going to say, how you're going to close. You make sure you have all of your documents with you. You make sure that they can sign on the dotted line at the end. You get clear on how long the presentation is going to last. Now, it has nothing to do with real estate. It's whatever. If you're in network marketing, if you're a small business owner, if you're an attorney. I was talking to an attorney the other day, and here's what she told me. She said, Eric, I do a free 30-minute consultation. I'm like, okay, that's a good strategy. The client comes in, they need to hire an attorney, so that's why they're there. And she said, I end up giving a bunch of free legal advice, and then I don't close. I said, look, they're giving you a half an hour of their time. Prepare in advance what you're going to say so you can guide them through the process. Now, it's not her fault. She was never professionally trained before. If right now If you don't have a well thought out presentation, it's not your fault. Look, you're a hardworking person. You're giving it your best effort. I acknowledge you for being on the webinar. Great job. But now, let me help you get connected to working on your presentation. So I want to just interact with you guys a little bit here. And I just did the hand raise button down, and I want to ask you guys a question. How many of you recognize right now that you need to be preparing your presentation at a higher level than the level that you're currently preparing at? Please hit the hand raise button right now if you just realize, you know what, I need to prepare at a higher level. Okay, Deborah, thank you for sharing. Del, thank you. Dawn, Fred, Hitish, Janice, Jason, Jeannie. It's in alphabetical order. That's why all these J's in a row. Jessica, Jim, Joanne, Joseph, Carol, Ken, Kimberly, Lance, Larry. There's so many people on the call. We spend the rest of the call just acknowledging you. And I do want to acknowledge all of you for sharing. Great job. Great job in coming to that realization. See, I'm passionate about this. I'm passionate about landing the point for you to realize that preparation, it's one of my 7 best ideas, guys. All roads lead to a professional presentation. And once you have it down, you've got it down for the rest of your career. Okay, let's go back to what is your why, all right? How many of you, as I went through that, recognize, you know what, Eric's talking about thinking 5 hours a week, and I really need to spend some time really getting clear in my own mind about what my why is. How many of you realize you need to spend a little bit more time getting real clear? Hit the hand raise button if you came to that realization that you need to spend more time thinking about your why. Okay, Sherry, Christine, CL, Deborah, Elizabeth, many of you came to that realization. Listen, guys, that's huge, because if you model me in your own way, it doesn't have to be 5 hours a week. It could be an hour a week, right? And you take the time. I like the idea of life by design. Life by design. Thinking about the life that I want to create for my kids, for my business, for my clients, for my health, for my bucket list. Okay, let me go back for just a minute here. I just want to check in with you guys about this principle that I shared, because I just started teaching this. Okay, I'm going to re-put the hands down. How many of you like the concept here of the 3 levels of wealth building, where you focus on getting out of financial stress if you're in it, and then focusing on getting comfortable if you're not comfortable yet, but if you're comfortable, then focusing on building wealth, and if you're already building wealth, continuing to build wealth? Hit the hand raise button if you like that concept. If you like that concept. Yeah, a lot of hands are going up. Yep. I'll tell you why I really like this concept. Me being a sales guy, I focused a lot of my career on number 1 and number 2. Like if life showed up and I got in financial stress, okay, make a bunch of sales to get out of financial stress. Okay, I'm out of financial stress, make a bunch of sales, be comfortable. But a lot of my career, I didn't focus on wealth building. And now that I'm focused on wealth building at age 44 with my ability to make money, when all the dust settles, I'll probably be worth $10 million or more when it's all said and done. But only because I'm now focusing on it. Whereas before I was just focused on making money. It's a very subtle but powerful difference in thinking. And it also creates motivation to make more money. Because it's not like now I need to make money not just for my lifestyle and not just for my taxes, but also for my wealth building. And hopefully I'll inspire at least one of you today to do that. And then that one thought could change everything for you, because now you're like, you know what, I need to make more money to do my investing. All right, I want to share with you guys a story about a time in my life. It was is probably the lowest point of my life. And I want to share the story because, and I've shared it before, it's a very powerful story to help with your mindset. Because in life, I'm going to tell you something some of you may never have heard before, and it's profound to me. In life, there's duality. Meaning with wealth, there's poverty. With up, there's down. With success, there's failure. With on, there's off. With light, there's dark. It's just the way the world works. So if you've been around for a while, you've had your ups and downs. And the question is, when we have a struggle in our life, we have a setback, we have a failure, how do we process that? And what I've experienced in my coaching practice when I talk to people, I do anywhere from 1 to 5 one-on-one coaching calls a day. I've been doing it for the last decade plus. So I've done thousands of one-on-one coaching calls. And a pretty common thing that happens is somebody will be vulnerable and they'll share with me about what's going on in their life. And they'll talk about a failure, a setback, a struggle, and it's affecting their mojo. I talked about a story earlier when I was interviewing John Assaraf about one of my clients. And my client's in his 60s. His previous ventures that he's had, none of them have worked out. And so it's affecting him in the present moment. And the guy's incredibly talented. Incredibly talented. I see his genius. I'm the president of his fan club. And I encourage him the best I can. And I just speak my truth into him of what I see. But he's, at least until up to our last coaching call, last time I spoke with him, carrying those past setbacks. And it's affecting his mojo. So this is a story about that. It's 1995. I had my first company, and the company went upside down. And I had to shut the company down. And I felt like I was a failure. And I was married at the time, and because I felt like I was a failure, I started acting as if I'm a failure. And my wife and I separated. And it was all my fault. Had nothing to do with her, had to do with my own feelings about myself. And my wife went to live with my mom. And so now my wife's living with my mom. I'm no longer married to her, but at the time, of course, we were married. So she's living with my mom. And I was broke. And I ended up homeless. Success has momentum to it, but so does struggle. So I was spiraling down. And I ended up homeless. And a buddy of mine, we connected one day, and I was sleeping in the back of my Honda Civic in a sleeping bag it was a hatchback, and I would fold the seats down and I would sleep in the back of my car. And he opened up his home to me. His name is David Fryer, and David was kind enough to open up his home to me and let me stay rent-free with him. My car was then repossessed. I went through personal bankruptcy. And I ended up waiting tables at a casino in Harrah's Casino in Reno, Nevada, working a graveyard shift, earning on average $1 per table. And I saved up enough money, and I begged my wife to come back, and she did once I was able to get my own apartment. And I got this little one-bedroom apartment called Foxfire Apartment Complex, and that was one of the happiest days of my life, getting that apartment and my wife and I getting back together. And what caused a lot of the failure, the challenge, the struggle, there was the event that happened in my business failing. When my business failed, I lost my mojo. So my wife and I did not need to separate. I did not need to become homeless. I did not need to wait tables. None of that needed to happen. But because I lost my mojo, I started operating from a whole different place. This is a beingness conversation. So I lost my mojo. And I was fortunate enough that at a point I let go of my past failures. I forgave myself and I moved on. And now I'm out doing, the things I'm doing today, and I don't carry around those past failures anymore. I don't carry the setbacks anymore. I release them. I learned how to release them. I went through my divorce, the most devastating personal experience of my entire life. My gosh, I had no idea what that experience was going to be like. And I forgave myself, and I forgave my ex-wife, and I released it. And it's important to release the past so you have the energy in the present moment to move towards your dreams, because your dreams require energy and it requires confidence. So what I want to share with you about this story is that if you've had past setbacks and it's affecting you in the present moment, I want to invite you, encourage you to let it go. There's a time to mourn situations. There's a time to, process. And when we go through tough times and devastating things like a bankruptcy or like a failed business or like a serious health setback or like a divorce or like your credit score tanking and your credit score was always important to you, or you lost your net worth, or your property went upside down, or you had 10 homes and you lost them all. There's a time to process that, and there's a time to let it go. Because here's the deal. Those are simply circumstances that have happened to you. They do not define who you are. And you still have all of your potential and all of your greatness within you. You see, you are not your bankruptcy. You're not your divorce. You're not your short sale. You're not your lost retirement. If you lost your retirement, you're not your failed business. Those are simply circumstances that have happened to you. And I just want to share with you that I somehow, some way just learned to let it go. Change begins in language. So you can change your language about it. You can just start telling yourself, I'm going to let it go. I'm going to forgive my ex-husband. I'm going to forgive that person that embezzled from me. I'm going to let go that the economy tanked. I'm going to forgive myself. And it's a very powerful process, because what it can do for you is free you up energetically to now go out and pursue your dreams. So I just want to share with you that you can let it go, that you do have greatness within you, and that those are simply circumstances that have happened to you, but they do not define who you are. So I've got a few more ideas I want to share with you before we wrap up. And idea number 4 of 7 best ideas that I know. And by the way, what I just shared with you, it may take you some time to process this. Remember earlier I said I think about 5 hours a week? That might be something for you to think about. If that story impacted you, to take some time and just forgive yourself and forgive whoever needs to be forgiven so you can move on with your life. So just make a note, if you need to spend some time processing tonight or tomorrow or this week, that'd be a great thing for you to do. Okay, idea number 4 is sales mountain. So this is one of the processes that I teach. Those of you that choose to coach with me, I'm going to teach you this process that's on the screen here in depth. And essentially what this means is we break down the sales process into individual steps. Think of it like this. A chain is as strong as its weakest link. Each of these steps on the screen, their appointment setting, trust and rapport, all those steps, those are links in the chain. So the way that I train is we just work on each of these steps by themselves. So think about this logically. Look at the lower left, lead generation. If you got better at lead generation, if you got better at appointment setting, if you got better at trust and rapport, if you got better at identifying customer needs, if you got better at every single one of those things on the screen there, well, let me ask it like this. If you got better at any one of those things, what would happen to your results? They'd go up now and forever. What if you got better at all of them? And you had that skill set for the rest of your life. That's what this conversation's about. Every one of you listening right now has potential inside of you to be better at sales, which means more sales, more income, more impact, more confidence. Pay your debt down, get out of financial stress, build wealth. This teaching of this information as part of my natural gifting. So if you'd like my help, then I encourage you to sign up at the end of the webinar. I'm going to offer you 2 programs. I'm going to offer you my entry-level program. I'm going to offer you my Rolls-Royce program. If you're already a client of mine, consider upgrading to the Rolls-Royce program. If you're not a client, determine which program is the best for you. Both programs come with 30-day money-back guarantee. Everything I do, this is my life's work. I pour out my heart and soul, just like I am on this webinar, to help you be at your best. So I taught the Sales Mountain to R.V. Robinson. She's the woman closest to the Century 21 sign. She had never been professionally trained in sales before. She's a speaker and a coach. One of R.V.'s dreams was to become a homeowner. She was barely making her bills, so she didn't have the money for a down payment. She lives in Southern California. So we got R.V.'s income up from about $4,000 a month to $15,000 to $20,000 a month. Because we got her income up, she was able to buy a home in Southern California. Beautiful home, pool in the backyard. You know, Southern California, homes are pretty expensive. I talked to R.V. recently, and she said, you know, Eric, in addition to getting that home, I'm now debt-free. So she got out of financial stress. She got comfortable. And she has a skill set for the rest of her life. So this is life-changing stuff, guys. Idea number 5 is sales scripting. This is what Dr. Moyne taught me. This comes into, you go back to Sales Mountain, which is an outline of your presentation. And then the next level, so level 1 is the outline. Level 2 is you script out each section of the presentation. So I want you to know that there's a level of selling that you can accomplish where you script out your presentation, you know exactly what to say to get somebody to buy from you. It's one of my 7 best ideas. And I want to give you a specific principle within sales scripting, and it's to tell success stories. So I'm going to give you an idea that has helped me generate, and I've never added it up to the penny, but it's generated well over $1 million in additional sales for me. It's one idea. And Dr. Moyne taught this to me about 21 years ago. And here's the idea. Before you deliver your presentation, you figure out the success stories you're going to tell in the order you're going to tell them in. Before you deliver your presentation, you figure out the success stories you're going to tell in the order that you're going to tell them in. And what Dr. Moyne shared with me, he said, Eric, listen to me. One of the most persuasive things that you can do in a presentation is to tell success stories. Now, I don't know all the reasons behind that. I don't know all the psychology behind it. And I may never know. But sometimes we don't need to know. It's like this. You go over to the light switch in your house, in your office, in your apartment, and you turn on that light switch, and what's going to happen? The light's going to go on. Do you know how it works electrically? If you're advanced with that, you do. I have no clue. I just know, turn on the light switch, light goes on. I know I hit internet on my smartphone, and I get the internet. How that works, I have no clue. I turn on my computer, it comes on. Like, I'm on a webinar with you guys. I'm talking into a phone line, and somehow this phone line talks to GoToWebinar, and you're in California or Canada or Mexico or India, and you're seeing what's on my computer screen. How does that work? I have no clue. I just knew that when I did the webinar, if everything worked properly, that we were all going to have this experience. So a lot of times we don't have to know the why behind it. We just have to do it. So Dr. Moyne says, Eric, figure out the success stories you're going to tell in the order you're going to tell them in. I respect his view. I go, you don't have to tell me again, Dr. Moyne. I'll just do it. So I started doing that 21 years ago, and I've done it virtually every presentation since then. Now, that idea is not intuitive. I didn't know the idea until he taught it to me, but it's easy, guys. So much of what I teach is not intuitive, but it's easy, right? The whole concept of, get out of financial stress, get comfortable, wealth build. That's easy. But it's not intuitive. Most people never get into wealth building. It's just not intuitive for them for whatever reason. But it's easy. Any of you could take some money every month and work on wealth building. So here's the idea, success stories. So I want to tell you some stories of just regular people just like you. This first story is about a guy named Doak Belt. He's in financial services. My system works in any industry. Makes no difference your industry. These are principles of sales persuasion and influence. So Doak sends me this email. In life, we all have those people who have made a difference in our lives. In my case, you've been that pivotal person, the one who's helped me in building my financial practice. When you and I started working close together about 5 years ago, I was frustrated with the success of my business. I was at a point where I contemplated doing something else. There may be some of you on this call, and you've had recent thoughts of maybe I should be doing something different. That's where Doak was at. I want to help educate people to make good financial decisions. The problem was I was not getting in front of enough people, and when I did get in front of them, I was not able to consistently move them to action. Okay, I'm not going to call your name out on this hand-raised one, so I won't say anybody's name, but I just want to check in. Is there anybody on the webinar right now that either you're not getting in front of enough people, or when you do get in front of them, you're not able to consistently move them to action? Just hit the hand raise button if that resonates with you, because that's where Doak was at. So Doak's married. He has children. He's an honest, hardworking guy. He's in financial services. He's frustrated. He's struggling. He just wants to help people. So we start working together. A lot's changed in 5 years. Your sales and marketing ideas have made a dramatic impact on my business. It's been an amazing ride the last 5 years, going from about $30,000 a year in income to now having months where I earn over $25,000 in a single month. So he goes from $30,000 a year to now some months making $25,000 in a month. Same guy, different skill set. So this is Doak with his son Caden. He now has 2 children. This is his wife Vare. And the photo is significant because it's in front of one of his 6 rental properties. So when we start working together, he's in financial struggle. Now he has 6 rental properties. So just a regular guy. This is what's possible for you guys. I'm a former cook at McDonald's. Scott Southall was about to lose his studio. Now he moved into a bigger studio. R.V. Robinson wanted to be a homeowner, didn't have the money to do it. Doak was considering going into another industry. Now he has 6 rental properties. See, just imagine for yourself. Just think about this. What would it mean to you if you increased your sales, and it wasn't like a fluke. It wasn't like you had this one good month and you had no clue how you did it. You knew how to replicate it. This is what I'm in the business of doing. I have some more information I want to share with you today, but I want you just to really hear me. If you want to learn how to make sale after sale after sale after sale after sale and have me transfer a skill set to you, then I want you to sign up for my program, because that's what I teach. This is Judy O'Higgins on the left, Rosie Bank on the right. They're both in network marketing. They both benefited tremendously from my teachings. Judy happens to be in Send Out Cards. Rosie happens to be in USANA. I've helped people in probably more than 100 different network marketing companies. Judy had never been professionally trained in sales before. And we got her trained. Last time I checked in with her, she was in the top 20 in send-out cards. They have over 170,000 people in the company. I want to share with you one final success story, and then I've got the final principles that I want to teach you. This is David Laster. The success story about David was when he worked with Aflac. Aflac has over 60,000 reps. David had never been professionally trained in sales. David's my age. We're both 44. So now David's professionally trained. He has the skills for the rest of his life. I've been in your protege program for over 2 years. I'm pleased to say I'm becoming a sales superstar. In addition, I qualified for the prestigious Aflac President's Club, which will be going on a Mediterranean cruise to Italy and Monte Carlo. That includes the top 85 agents in the entire company of 60,000. I ended up number 45. I owe so much of my success to you. Here's what I love about it's every client success story. What I'm all about are principles, skill transfer. Okay, now, what's the principle that I'm teaching you right now? I'm going to show you. That's the principle. I just role modeled it for you. That's what I want you to do. Tell your stories in your presentation. Okay, that's one idea. I'm giving you 7 today. I have another 1,000 unique ideas to teach all of you to help you make more money now and forever. Okay, we got 2 more today. Number 6 of my best ideas, time management's about time choices. If you want to move your business forward faster, it's about making better choices with your time. So here's the deal. If you want to make more sales and grow your business, make more money, you've got to start doing some things differently with your time. So when I worked at McDonald's, I would work an hour and I'd make $5, $6. Then I did something different with my time and I went into commission sales. In that first year, I went from $7,000 in income roughly to $28,000. $7,000 at McDonald's, $28,000 in commission sales. Then I started doing something better with my time. I started doing group sales, like what we're doing on this webinar. And my income shot up to right around $100,000. Then I decided for me, my next choice was to become a solopreneur. And I worked out of a spare bedroom in my condo when I launched Lofholm International. Then I decided to hire staff, write books, create home study courses. But see, all of these were decisions of doing things differently with my time. This is where the thinking 5 hours a week comes in. And again, you don't have to do it 5 hours a week, an hour a week, whatever you can spare. But you start thinking about, well, where could I invest my time differently that would get me a better return on my time invested? John mentioned, John Assaraf on the webinar, what's the highest and best use of my time? That's what this is about. All achievement begins in thought. Okay, here's the last idea. And then I want to extend an invitation for you and I to work together. So level 10 means, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 means your best effort. That's the level 10 concept. You give it your best effort. So the other day, I moved. This is June 30th, just a couple weeks ago. I had a big webinar like the one you're on now in the morning. I had a second big webinar from 4 to 7 at night. I had some appointments, coaching calls, sales calls in between, and I had to be out of my one place by July 1st. So the movers came over, and we were finishing off the move the night of June 30th. So movers came over, and I got a bunch of help, and we did that. But the finishing touches weren't done yet, and the bottom line is I ended up there until 2:30 in the morning. And then I got up the next day, and I had my work day the next day. Now, that's not a typical day for me, but I had a full day, 2 big webinars, coaching calls all the way in between, and then I was moving until 2:30 in the morning. Now, of course, it's not what I do every day, but that's an example of level 10. Now, it took me a few days to recover because I got behind on my sleep, but here's the point. Your effort is very, very important. And I'm gonna say something, and John doesn't know I'm mentioning this, but John Assaraf was moving today. Guys, he was moving today. He took out over an hour of his day to be on the webinar with you guys because that's who he is. He's that kind of a guy that operates at that level. It's extraordinary when you get around people like John and myself that really go for it in life and produce extraordinary results. Now, back to what I want to teach you guys. I can't be up at 2:30 every day until 2:30 in the morning. I burn out. So I don't believe in level 10 every day. What I believe in is playing at a 7 or higher every day. And that's my commitment to myself and my business. Every day, I play at a 7, 8, 9, or 10 every day, bar none, no questions asked. That's how I show up. Consistency is the key. So I want you to check in with yourself. What level have you been playing at, say, over the last 30 days in your business on a scale of 1 to 10? Now, if it's lower than 7, it's not your fault. Maybe you never had somebody like me teach this to you. I believe, I'm sharing with you my 7 best ideas. You can do whatever you want to do with this concept. I'm just telling you, my company, I built a thing from scratch, and I'm out there producing results every single day, and this is what I do. I play at a 7 or higher every day. And if you adopted this, if you're not currently playing at this level and you started doing this, your whole life will change. I'm speaking to you from a place of experience, not from some theory. When I started Lofholm International, I went down and got my DBA, and one day I was in business. I had no database, and at age 28, I built the darn thing from scratch. And the way I did it, in large part, was living this philosophy. So that resonates with you, and you make a decision that you're going to do this, could change your life. Now, I just want to check in with you guys. I'm going to lower the hand raises. So all the hands just went down. Hit the hand raise button. I'm not going to say your name. Just hit the hand raise button if you're recognizing, you know what, Eric? I need to play at a higher level consistently. If you just resonate with that, hit the hand raise button if you need to play at a higher level consistently. I'm not going to call your name out. Just hit the hand raise button. Just you and I. We'll be the only ones that know it. A lot of you have your hands going up. That's a big realization. Thank you for sharing. Hands all over the place. Awesome. So what I'd like to do right now is simply extend an invitation for you and I to enter into a mentoring relationship. You know if you could benefit from making more sales. And if that's you, then I would love to work with you. And I've got 2 great ways that we can do this. The first way is, let me just adjust that real quick. There we go. All right. So the first way is my Silver Protege program. Many of you on the webinar right now, you're already in the program. If you're not in the Silver Protege program, most of my clients, this is the program that they start with. 90-day program, step-by-step instruction for what you do over those 90 days, professionally train you in sales. It's a $1,295 program. And we're going to offer you this program for $299 today. One-time payment of $299. What's included? 80-page manual, 12 professionally recorded modules, private Facebook group. It's a lifetime membership. So although you can go through the program in 90 days, you're a part of it. It's kind of like a sales training club. We have a one-day virtual seminar, and it's very well put together. I started this program in 2003. That's how long the Protege program has been in existence. This program will professionally train you on how to generate leads, how to set appointments, step-by-step how to close, how to handle any objection. Both programs come with a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. So you have no risk. Sign up today, try it out. If you don't like it for any reason, no problem. The second program is my Rolls-Royce program. And there are some of you on this call, you want to accelerate. And the stakes are high for you in terms of what it would mean to you if you increase your income. There are some of you on this call, if you really went for it, you can make an extra $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, maybe even more every month. There are some of you on this call that you could see yourself increasing your income to become a multimillionaire, just like Rick Silva. And if that's you, then this would be the program for you. If you really want to accelerate your results, it'd be the Rolls-Royce program. It's 1 year of professional sales training. It's a structured program with step-by-step weekly instruction. The program includes my silver, gold, and platinum protege programs. My silver course focuses on sales fundamentals. The gold program teaches my advanced script writing techniques, and the platinum program focuses on sales acceleration. With the Rolls-Royce program, you also get a year of one-on-one coaching with one of my coaches. It's a $3,000 value. Your coach will work with you twice a month, one-on-one, for 30 minutes per session to guide you through the program. Your coach will work with you for 1 year. If you're already a silver, gold, or platinum member, you will be eligible to receive an additional discount because those are included in the program. So if you're already in those programs, we give you a discount. The Rolls-Royce program goes for $5,000. I want to do something a little extra special for you today. So we're going to offer it at a $1,000 discount. So it's $4,000 or $500 down and 16 payments of $250. If you do the math on that, that comes out to $4,500. And here was my thinking on this payment option. Put the money down. If you really want to accelerate, you apply my proven principles, you're going to start making more money. You can pay that $250 a month payment from your increase in sales. So it's a way of kind of like self-financing the program. Now, you're going to make an agreement with me, and you're going to agree to make that monthly payment whether you choose to increase your results or not. But here's my thought. If you really want to accelerate, you really want to go for it, my program delivers, and we make this affordable for anybody. Now, when you register for the Rolls-Royce program, whether you do the full pay or the payment option, you'll get an hour of coaching with me, and I want to do that with you in the next 2 weeks. I want to work with you for a full hour, walk you through the program, and get you ready to really accelerate, and then you'll start your coaching with your Eric Lofholm coach. Now, there's 2 ways to register. You're going to call or text this number. If you're doing the silver program, that's the entry-level program for $299, you're going to go to silverprotege.com, or you can call or text that number. If you're doing the Rolls-Royce program, you'll need to call or text the number, and my staff will talk to you over the phone to complete your order and answer any questions that you have. So silverprotege.com. So the silver course is $299. The Rolls-Royce program is $500 down and 16 payments of $250, or a one-time payment of $4,000. That's a $1,000 discount off of the regular price of the program. To register, you're going to call or text 916-626-1945, or you're going to go to silverprotege.com if you're ordering the entry-level program, or if you want the Rolls-Royce program, call or text that number. These programs are designed to give you significant return on investment. I started my company 16 years ago. I eat, breathe, and sleep sales training. Sometimes I'll tell people, if I was on the show Jeopardy, where they ask you all kinds of questions about all types of subjects, I wouldn't be very good on that show. Because I'm not the kind of person, I don't know a lot about a lot of things. But I do know a lot about sales. I know as much about sales and increasing results as it relates to sales as anybody on the planet. And this is my life's work. And so for those of you that want professional coaching, here it is, the 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Ask yourself, how many sales would you need to make to earn back $299 or $4,000? It's not much. And we're going to give you these skills that are going to help you increase your income for the rest of your life. Dope Bell's life is totally changed and will forever be changed because it was a skill transfer. Judy O'Higgins' life is forever changed. R.V. Robinson's life is forever changed. David Laster's life is forever changed as a result of what I taught him. This is a skill transfer. So I want to acknowledge you for joining John and I on this webinar. My hope is that you got great ideas from John and great ideas from me that you can go out and implement. My hope is that you're glad you came. I want to acknowledge those of you that signed up for John's program. You made a great decision. And I want to acknowledge those of you that made the decision to work with me. You made a great decision there too. That's going to wrap our webinar. I want you to know you have greatness inside of you. I believe in you. I want to end the webinar by saying God bless. Have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.